you doing?
Harvesting.
So I think land is not the main issue. We need the companies, we need dreamers, and we need people that want to come and be a farmer.
The only challenge with that now is because they're not making money, they can't pay well. So until the unit economics work, and then we'll get more people coming to work in the farms.
In this series, we'll explore how innovative technologies and local initiatives are rethinking the way we produce and consume food. Welcome to Future Food, where we explore the food production of tomorrow. In this episode, we head to the heartland of Red Hill, where we meet people that are making impactful initiatives to help with food security and sustainability.
Hi Zach.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. My name is Yulin. So this is such an interesting concept. You repurpose a whole school. So what gave you the idea to do that?
Back in 2018, URA worked with SLA to look into redeveloping old schools, repurposing them instead of just tearing them down and building new condos, right? The interesting thing about this project was URA planned it to be an intergenerational project. So this entire space is one school.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, I see.
the teacher's office and the general office is actually the childcare.
Ah,
And where the classrooms is actually the nursing home.
Oh.
And where we are at, where we have the hall and we have the canteen and we have the school fields, this is the urban farm.
So Zach, can you tell me more about City Sprouts? How did it sprout up?
Yeah, so we started in 2019 while we were teaching different kinds of workshops across the community. So we went to boutiques fair, we went to schools, we brought kids to the nurseries in Kranji area. And when we first saw the tender in, I think it was early 2019, we decided to try for it. It was also extremely humbling building City Sprouts through COVID-19. But I feel seeds that can sprout during the tough seasons will last.
Exactly, what a great metaphor. Sprouting in adversity, guys. So what are some of the primary goals of City Sprouts?
So the primary goal of City Sprouts is to forge communities through shared discovery. That's one of the core purpose and vision of the company. So there's three key areas where we focus in, which is vulnerable youth, elderly, and people with disabilities. So City Sprouts really is not just an urban farm, it's a social enterprise that have different types of programs, different types of events that bring people together. And some of these programs and events are socially engineered to bring various groups of people together. And through the different bonds that we build during the program itself, that's when you get a very strong and a tighter social compact within Singapore.
Can you share some of the success stories of how City Sprouts has impacted the community?
So when we first started in the old Henderson Secondary School, we had 31 community farmers. Fast forward to 2024, we have 153 community farmers. Big, small plots, people that just doing for hobby, coming on the evening, elderly, youth, and people who are trying to start their own agriculture business. So one of the core reasons why we started City Sprouts as well, we wanted to support people from the community that wanted to grow crops. So City Sprouts actually provide this small little space. You can trial it on a yearly basis. Once your minimum viable product is up, then you can scale up the business, you can get investors to have a look. And that's one of the success stories such as Tomato Town and other success stories such as Mushroom Buddy, which is also a social enterprise that they support special needs individuals for mushroom harvesting because it's a repetitive process. So that's the kind of idea that we want to bridge, and City Sprouts, we see ourselves as a community player where we bridge the corporates as well as the social as well as individuals from the community.
So what are some of your future plans to help with Singapore's food security and sustainability?
Yeah, so first up, we launched the 5th space in Singapore, so that's Vida City. The focus is really to build more companies, more startups at an early stage. We'll invite them there to do prototyping, micro-factory, produce different types of vegetables and food at Vida City. While City Sprouts' importance is really to still capacity build at a community level, to allow people to understand what's going on in the market, what are some new products, some new ideas that people have came up with, what are some new farmers that came into the market, then we'll introduce them during our signature farmers market.
Farmers market in Singapore, I think that's probably the first I've heard actually. I mean, I used to live overseas in the UK or in Australia, and it's so common over there to hear of farmers market, fresh produce, fresh cheese is my favorite. But in Singapore, I mean, this is honestly the first I've heard.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. I mean, the tough part about organizing a farmers market is not in doing the market. The tough part is where are the farmers? So that's something that why we developed Vidacity. We want to encourage more farmers, and City Sprouts at the core of it is also to encourage more farmers. So that's the dream that we have for Singapore, and we believe that Singapore will be self-sufficient. It's just a matter of how we get there.
Really see how the government is shifting everything so that we are becoming more and more self-reliant.
Yeah, it really takes action from the ground, because SFA is launching their big-scale mega plan for Sungai Tengah area of farming, and I think they are spending the capital to set up some of these farms for investment and companies to come in and set up their farms. So I think land is not the main issue. We need the companies, we need dreamers, and we need people that want to come and be a farmer. Hopefully, whatever City Sprouts is doing or Vidacity is doing, we can inspire a few along the way, and people will come into the sector. They will see it as something that is important for the country. They will see it as an alternative kind of business, not just the typical startup that Singapore usually churns out.
Sprouting some inspiration there. Well, thanks Zach for your very insightful and candid sharing of how City Sprouts sprouted, and you're definitely inspiring, I believe, the next generation of farmers, young people. So thanks very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
To learn more about urban farms, I head to West Coast to speak to the managing partner of Greenbridge Partners.
So Kelvin, how has urban farming evolved in Singapore over the last few years?
I think we started with growing herbs in our gardens, and then we started looking at vertical farms, not just for vegetables, but also things like fruits, strawberries, and so on. If you look at some of our farms, they're very, very high tech. The only challenge with that now is because they're not making money, they can't pay well. So it's not attracting a lot of people like maybe the tech sector is, or the finance sector is, because end of the day, it's about whether you get paid good money for that job. So until the unit economics work and these agri-techs companies start making good money, I'm sure they will pay the employees well, and then we'll get more people coming to work in the farms.
To find out more about how the urban farm can exist in the city, I speak to the co-founder of Tomato Town.
Hi Webster, I'm Yulin. Nice to meet you.
Hi Yulin, nice to meet you.
Thanks for inviting us to your town, Tomato Town, right?
Yes,
tomato,
right.
Tomato, you say tomato, I say
Tomato?
Anyway, exactly. But I don't see any tomatoes. It's not tomato season.
Yes, it's not tomato season. We normally grow tomato towards the end of the year.
Okay.
So currently it's a bit too hot, so we don't really grow it right now. So over here we actually grow mainly basil and kale, and then we just supply it to supermarkets.
Oh, lovely. It sounds very Italian, and it's kind of, well, I mean, tomato, kale,
It's very
basil.
sharp eye you have.
Yeah,
typically Italian kale.
Maybe we can do some cooking later. Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. So how does Tomato Town work?
So basically we bid for HDB car parks rooftops to actually set up our aeroponics system. The roots will be hanging, and most of the watering is done through a shower head at the top of our pipes.
So what are the advantages of aeroponics farming compared to traditional farming methods?
I think one of the advantages is we can actually really fully utilize spaces. Usual traditional farming will probably require soil land to actually grow on top of a car park. But for us, we actually don't require much soil, or we don't even use soil at all. So it actually helps to reduce pests. And more importantly, we actually recirculate our water.
So how can you ensure that recycled water is good for the plants?
Basically, our recycled water is laced with nutrients, and then we actually recycle it by collecting it back in the tank. So it's a closed loop system in the whole entire aeroponics system, so there is no exposed to foreign objects and foreign methods. And moreover, every quarterly we actually change out the water.
So how long do these plants take to mature?
The seed to seedling phase takes about 2 to 3 weeks. And then the seedling phase, when we put it outdoors, probably another 2 to 3 weeks for it to be fully mature.
Oh, okay.
So the entire process will probably take about 6 weeks, which is about 1.5 months-ish.
So what are the commitments of urban farming and what's a typical day like here on the farm?
Definitely, we have to check in on the nutrients content and also the temperature of water to make sure that everything is within the range of our vegetable growing at a healthy level. With the farm-to-table concept, we normally harvest it in the morning and then we send it to restaurants as well as supermarkets in the afternoon. So when it gets to noon, whereby it's too hot, the plants actually produce some kind of chemical that make it taste bitter. So we tend to actually do it in the morning, and it's also much comfortable for everyone as well.
That's really fresh.
Yes,
like,
that's right.
Can't imagine having never would I have thought that you get all that freshness in Singapore in terms of farm to table.
Yeah, you can chew off.
So what is the most important value as an urban farmer?
I think to be able to adapt, as the farming industry, especially for urban farming, is pretty new in Singapore. So a lot of things we actually learn ourselves and we require a lot of trial and error. Even at the start, before we actually set up a commercial farm, we actually took the system, we took the technology to actually try out in a smaller plot in City Sprout. After learning how to actually grow, we have confidence in terms of the yield. Then we move out from City Sprout to actually bid for larger plots of land to actually start our commercial farm full scale.
I see, wow. How long did that take? Like how many years was that process?
So for us, it took almost over 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, to go from a test plot at City Sprout to a full-scale commercial farm across Singapore.
So what role do you think urban farming will play in Singapore's future food landscape?
Urban farming in Singapore should be quite important considering the lack of space. Growing on rooftop actually makes a lot of sense space-wise, and secondly, pest-wise is not as bad as growing it on the ground. So yeah, we don't really use pesticide or any preservative on our plants, which actually kind of gives us the edge over other crops that is heavily laced with pesticide and preservative.
Well, thanks very much, Webster, for showing me around your lovely rolling HDB slopes and jungle things and streams of water and pipes. They come close to the Italian rolling hills, and right now I'm sweating like a sun-dried tomato, if you can see, and I'm ready to harvest and make myself some refreshing salad that has no bitter aftertaste because it is not harvest in this very hot sun. We've gained valuable insights into the challenges and ongoing efforts to ensure a more food secure and sustainable future for Singapore. By supporting initiatives like Tomato Town, we can collectively make a difference to our environment and food security, and maybe even try our hand at growing our own food. Thank you for joining me on this journey as we explored the future of food in Singapore. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This is your host, Yulin, signing out.
Thank you so much. I forgot your name.
It's okay. I'm sorry.